Ruth, unable to hide her fury, stormed up to Ada. "This woman is a fraud. And I'm going to find out exactly what she's planning." Ada took a deep breath, shaking her head. "We need to think carefully. We can't just accuse her." "What if?" Ruth cut her off, eyes burning with determination. "No, Ada. We are not sitting back this time. We need to act. Before she destroys everything." The mansion, once a place of opulence and serenity, now felt like a battleground. Ada and Ruth had always understood their roles, had accepted their place in Mr. Bami's life, but Juliet's arrival had turned their world upside down, and now, she was pregnant. A miracle that should have been impossible, but was it truly a miracle, or a lie? Ruth wasn't one to sit idly by. She had spent years mastering the art of survival in this home, understanding every unspoken rule, every shift in power. And now, she was determined to unravel Juliet's secret. Late one evening, she pulled Ada aside in the dimly lit corridor, away from prying eyes. "We need proof," Ruth whispered. "We need to find out exactly how she's doing this." Ada hesitated. "But what if it's a miracle?" "No." Ruth's voice was sharp. "I won't let this woman replace us. I won't let her win." Together, they formed a plan. They would watch Juliet closely, observe her every move. They would uncover whatever deception she was weaving, and most importantly, they would strike back before it was too late. A week passed before Mr. Bami announced that a doctor would be visiting to confirm Juliet's pregnancy. Ada and Ruth exchanged glances. This was their chance. They made sure to be present when the doctor arrived, standing in the doorway as Juliet sat gracefully in the lounge, her hands resting lightly on her stomach. The doctor, an elderly man with a kind face, examined her carefully, asking routine questions, and then, after a long pause, he cleared his throat. "I must say, Mr. Bami, this is quite unexpected." The room fell into silence. Juliet smiled. "Doctor, miracles happen every day." The doctor nodded slowly, but there was something in his eyes, something uncertain. Ruth noticed it, and she was going to find out exactly what he wasn't saying. That night, while the house slept, Ruth slipped out of her bedroom and made her way to the study where the doctor had placed his reports. She wasn't alone. Ada was right behind her, her heart pounding. Together, they rifled through the paperwork, searching, scanning until they found it, a single note scribbled in the margins of the doctor's records. "Further tests required." "Something does not add up," Ada gasped. Ruth smiled. Juliet wasn't just hiding something, she was lying. And now, they had proof. The mansion was on edge, the wives moving like players in a chess game, each waiting for the right moment to strike. Juliet thought she had won, but Ada and Ruth were ready. They had seen the deception, they had uncovered the truth. And soon, Mr. Bami would see it too. The quiet tension within the mansion had become suffocating. Juliet had carefully positioned herself as the favored wife, her belly now the symbol of power, a child that shouldn't exist. But Ada and Ruth were no fools. They had seen the cracks in her perfect facade, and now, they had evidence. It wasn't just suspicion anymore. It was fact. Juliet was hiding something, and they were going to expose her. Ada and Ruth weren't known for rash decisions, but this was different. This was war. The moment Mr. Bami returned home one evening, Ada stepped forward, her voice steady but laced with urgency. "We need to talk, darling," Mr. Bami frowned. "What is it?" Juliet appeared in the doorway, her presence like a silent warning. She knew. She sensed something was coming. Ruth crossed her arms. "We visited the doctor's study. And we found something." Juliet's smile wavered. Mr. Bami's eyes darkened. "Found what?" Ada took a slow breath. "He has doubts about Juliet's pregnancy. He wrote it in his report. Further tests are needed." A heavy silence fell over the room. Juliet's fingers twitched against the silk fabric of her gown. "I don't understand," she said softly, her tone almost convincing. "Why would you go through my medical records?" She wasn't denying the claim. She was stalling, but Ruth wouldn't let her slip away because something doesn't add up. You're lying. We know it. Mr. Bamy looked from one wife to another, his expression unreadable. Juliet, he said slowly, is this true? And that was when Juliet played her final card. She exhaled shakily, lowering her gaze as if in shame. I didn't want to tell you, my love, because I was afraid. But yes, the doctor had concerns at first. Ada clenched her teeth. Ruth narrowed her eyes. Juliet continued, her voice sweet, controlled. But he ran further tests, and everything is fine now. I was going to share the news tonight. I wanted to surprise you, and Mr. Bamy, ever the trusting man, believed it. Then that's the end of it. His voice was firm. We should be celebrating this child, not fighting over suspicions. Juliet smiled, victorious, but Ruth saw it, the flicker in her eyes. A brief moment of relief, not joy. She had been close to losing, but next time, Ada and Ruth would make sure she had no escape. Defeated but not broken, the two wives retreated to Ada's room, their minds racing. She's good, Ada muttered, but she made a mistake. Ruth tapped her fingers against the vanity table. She didn't deny the doctor's note outright. She just twisted the story. Ada exhaled. We need undeniable proof, Ruth. If we expose her too soon, she'll twist it again. Ruth smiled darkly. Then we'll watch her. She won't be able to hide forever. Juliet thought she had won. She thought her deception had been neatly sewn into Mr. Bamy's heart, but Ada and Ruth had fire in their veins. This wasn't over, and soon, Juliet would learn that the true queens of the mansion would not be replaced. Tensions no longer lingered in the shadows. They had erupted into a storm that could not be ignored. Juliet's grip on Mr. Bamy had tightened.